The sun was just rising over the sleepy village of Yumyuk when the news spread like wildfire. An educated young man from the city had arrived to teach the village girls. For generations, the girls in Yumyuk had been overlooked when it came to education. Only the boys were sent to school, while the girls were kept home to tend to chores and prepare for marriage. This tradition had left many women illiterate and longing for a change. Now, change had come in the form of Mr. Samuel, a handsome and charismatic teacher in his early 30s. When Mr. Samuel stepped off the dusty bus that had carried him into the heart of the village, he was greeted by curious stares and hushed whispers. He was taller than most of the villagers, with smooth caramel skin, intelligent eyes, and an air of confidence that immediately set him apart. His urban sophistication was evident in his neatly pressed white shirt, dark trousers, and polished shoes. Carrying a leather satchel that seemed to hold the weight of the world, he walked toward the village square, where the elders awaited him. Chief Okonkwo, the oldest and most respected elder, was the first to speak. "Welcome, Mr. Samuel. We are honored to have you in our village," he said, his voice warm but laced with caution. "We have heard that you intend to teach our girls. But let me warn you, it is not an easy task. The people here are traditional." Mr. Samuel smiled politely. "Thank you, Chief. I understand the challenges, but I believe every child, boy or girl, deserves an education. With your support, I hope to bring change." The crowd murmured approvingly, though some of the older men exchanged skeptical glances. Women and young girls peeked shyly from behind trees and doorways, their curiosity piqued by this bold, confident man who spoke of things they had only dreamed of. That evening, Mr. Samuel met with the mothers of the village, explaining his plan to hold classes every morning under the giant mango tree near the village school. The women, weary from years of being silenced, eagerly agreed. By nightfall, the entire village buzzed with excitement. The girls, some as young as 10 and others well into their teens, could hardly sleep, imagining a future where they could read, write, and perhaps even leave the confines of Yumyuk. The first day of class dawned bright and clear. Mr. Samuel stood beneath the mango tree, a makeshift blackboard propped against its trunk. His students, dressed in colorful wrappers and headscarves, gathered hesitantly, giggling nervously as they took their places on wooden benches and mats spread over the ground. "Welcome everyone," Mr. Samuel began, his voice warm and inviting. "Today is the beginning of something new. You may not realize it now, but each of you has the power to change the world." The girls exchanged surprised glances. No one had ever spoken to them like this before. For the next hour, Mr. Samuel taught them how to write their names, drawing letters in the dirt for those who didn't have notebooks. The girls listened intently, their eyes wide with wonder as they learned how to hold pencils and form simple words. By the end of the lesson, a sense of pride filled the air. Mr. Samuel's encouraging words and patient teaching style won the girls over completely. Even the shyest among them felt a spark of confidence. But as the days turned into weeks, whispers began to circulate among the villagers. Some of the older men disapproved of Mr. Samuel's methods, claiming he was filling the girls' heads with ideas that would make them disrespectful. Others accused him of spending too much time with the girls, wondering why a young, unmarried man would take such an interest in them. The rumors came to a head one fateful evening during a village meeting. "This young man," declared Elder Nwankwo, his tone dripping with disdain, "has been alone with our daughters every day. How can we be sure his intentions are pure?" A murmur of agreement rippled through the crowd, though some mothers rose to defend Mr. Samuel. "He is teaching them to read and write," shouted Mama Chika, a fiery woman known for her sharp tongue. "Something none of you ever cared to do." But Elder Nwankwo wasn't convinced. "Teaching, you say, or something else? Have you not heard the whispers? They say he has disvirgined all the girls in one day." The words sent a shockwave through the meeting. Gasps and exclamations erupted as mothers clutched their chests in horror. The men shouted angrily, demanding that Mr. Samuel be brought before them to answer for his supposed crimes. Unaware of the storm brewing against him, Mr. Samuel was preparing his lesson plan for the next day when a group of men barged into his small hut. "Young man," Chief Okonkwo said sternly, his face dark with anger, "you must come with us at once. There are serious accusations against you." "What accusations?" Mr. Samuel asked, his confusion evident. "You will explain yourself at the square," the chief replied, giving no further details. As Mr. Samuel was dragged into the village square, he saw a mob of angry faces waiting for him. The girls he had been teaching stood at the back, their eyes filled with fear and confusion. Elder Nwankwo stepped forward, his voice booming. "We demand to know the truth. Have you or have you not defiled our daughters?" Mr. Samuel's jaw dropped. "Defiled? I have done no such thing. I am here to teach, nothing more." But the crowd was not easily convinced. As the accusations grew louder, Mr. Samuel realized that his fate rested on the truth being revealed, and fast.
The village square buzzed with tension as the crowd pressed closer to Mr. Samuel, their shouts echoing through the night. The girls he had taught huddled together, whispering among themselves, their innocent faces showing both fear and confusion. Chief Okonkwo raised his hand for silence, his booming voice cutting through the chaos. "Enough," the chief commanded. "This matter is too serious for wild accusations and noise. Let us hear from the girls themselves." The crowd murmured in agreement. All eyes turned to the group of young girls, who looked at each other hesitantly. One of the older girls, Reby, stepped forward, clutching the hem of her wrapper tightly. Her voice trembled, but there was a steely resolve in her eyes. "Chief, elders, everyone," Reby began, her words slow but clear. "Mr. Samuel has done nothing wrong. He has been nothing but a teacher to us, showing us things we never thought we could do. He taught us how to write, how to read, even how to believe in ourselves. That is all." Her declaration was met with a mixture of relief and skepticism. Elder Nwankwo was the first to respond, his face twisted in disbelief. "And yet," he sneered, "rumors do not start from nothing. Are you saying that all the stories we have heard are lies?" Adeobi's face turned red with frustration. Before she could respond, another girl, Neka, stepped forward, her voice rising above the crowd. "They are lies," Neka exclaimed, her hands balled into fists. "The men who spread these rumors do not like the idea of us learning. They want us to stay ignorant, like our mothers and grandmothers before us. But we will not go back." Her passionate words sent a ripple through the crowd, with the women nodding in agreement. However, Elder Nwankwo and a few of the older men were not swayed. "If he is so innocent," Nwankwo challenged, "then why are there whispers about secret meetings at night? Why do some say they have seen him with girls alone in the schoolhouse after dark?" Chief Okonkwo frowned, his gaze shifting to Mr. Samuel. "What do you have to say about this, young man?" Samuel took a deep breath, stepping forward to address the crowd. His voice was calm but firm. "I have nothing to hide. Yes, I sometimes work late into the night preparing lessons or helping some of the girls who struggle to keep up. But I have always done so with the utmost respect and integrity. My only intention has been to educate and uplift these young women." The chief studied him carefully, his expression unreadable. "And what of these supposed secret meetings? Can you deny them entirely?" Before Mr. Samuel could respond, another voice cut through the crowd. It was Mama Chica, the fiery woman who had defended him earlier. She marched forward, dragging her 12-year-old daughter, Amara, by the hand. "My daughter has been one of his students," Mama Chica announced, her voice loud and confident. "She has told me everything. There are no secrets. The only thing this man has done is give our girls hope for a better future. If you want to accuse someone of wrongdoing, accuse those who spread these lies." The crowd erupted again, this time with a mixture of cheers and angry rebuttals. Chief Okonkwo raised his hand once more, his voice firm. "This is enough. We cannot settle this matter with shouting. Let us investigate properly. We will visit the schoolhouse tonight and see if there is any evidence of these so-called secret meetings. If nothing is found, we will put this matter to rest." The villagers marched as a group to the schoolhouse, their torches lighting the way. Mr. Samuel walked at the center of the crowd, flanked by Chief Okonkwo and Elder Nwankwo. The girls followed closely, their faces pale with worry. When they reached the schoolhouse, the chief ordered the doors to be opened. The dim light from the torches revealed a simple classroom with wooden benches, a blackboard, and a small desk for the teacher. There was no sign of anything suspicious. "Search the place," Nwankwo barked, waving his hand. "Leave no corner unchecked." The men fanned out, opening cupboards, peering under desks, and even lifting the mats on the floor. But after nearly an hour of searching, they found nothing. "It's just as I said," Mr. Samuel said quietly, his voice steady. "I have nothing to hide." Elder Nwankwo scowled, his pride wounded. "Then why do these rumors persist? Who started them?" The answer came from an unexpected source. One of the older boys in the village, Chikwudi, stepped forward, wringing his hands nervously. I think I know," Chikwudi stammered. "It was some of the boys. They were jealous because their sisters were learning faster than them. They started telling stories to make trouble." A shocked silence fell over the crowd. The chief turned to the boys standing in the back, his eyes narrowing. "Is this true?" he demanded. The boys shuffled their feet, avoiding his gaze. Finally, one of them, a lanky teenager named Obina, confessed. "We didn't think it would go this far. We didn't like how the girls were acting so smart. It felt wrong." The chief's face darkened with anger. "You foolish children. Do you realize the damage you have caused with your lies? You could have destroyed this man's reputation. And for what? Pride? Jealousy?" The boys hung their heads in shame, and the chief turned back to Mr. Samuel. "You have been wronged, young man. On behalf of the village, I apologize." The next morning, the village gathered under the mango tree, this time not for accusations, but to celebrate. The women and girls brought baskets of food and gifts for Mr. Samuel, thanking him for his patience and dedication. Even Elder Nwankwo, humbled by the events of the previous night, offered a reluctant apology. As the girls resumed their lessons, their laughter and chatter filled the air. Mr. Samuel looked out at their eager faces, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. He had come to Yumyuk to make a difference, and despite the challenges, he had succeeded. For the first time in generations, the girls of Yumyuk believed in their potential, and the village began to see them not as burdens, but as the future. And as the sun set over the mango tree, Mr. Samuel knew that this was only the beginning.